So there are a lot of skills in Assassin's Creed Origins, and early on you're going to be quite confused as to what skills you're going to get, and which skill tree is the best for your playstyle. The 3 skill trees, Warrior, Hunter, and Seer, are all very useful, but which skills are the most useful to get early on in the game? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the best skills to get as soon as possible, because some skills are pretty useless, whereas others are very useful in the game. So without further ado guys, let's get straight into today's tips and tricks guide. The first skill we have is Parry. This is in the Warrior skill tree, and it's an incredibly useful perk for combat situations. This skill allows you to deflect an enemy's attack by pressing B at the right time. Basically, once their sword almost makes contact with yours, you press B or circle on PlayStation, and then you deflect their attack, and it leaves them open to a critical hit. This skill is especially useful because it works on practically every enemy in the game, apart from animals. You can do it to basically anyone. Even the huge brutes that have massive maces, you can still parry their attacks as well, which is why this skill is very useful to have. I'd say it's basically essential in the combat system of Assassin's Creed Origins. It's also great because it only takes 1 skill point to get, and it's the first skill you're able to acquire in the Warrior skill tree. So as soon as you turn to like level 2, you're able to get the parry ability, and it is incredibly useful in almost any situation in combat. I highly recommend the parry ability. The next skill we have is Regeneration. Now this skill is really useful, probably equally as useful as Parry, because it allows you to regenerate health even while in combat. Combat system in Assassin's Creed Origins is a lot more difficult, and it's a lot more likely that you're going to get hit in the game. So if you do get hit and take a bit of damage, then you're able to recharge at least 1 bar of health out of the 3 you get in the game. This skill is basically invaluable in the game because you're going to get hit almost 100% guaranteed in combat unless you're really good at dodging or really good at parrying enemies. So when you're against a full group of enemies and you take some hits, you're able to drop back a bit, recharge your health, and then get straight back into the fight. This skill definitely makes the fights in Assassin's Creed Origins a lot more forgiving, and for that reason it's one of the best skills you can get in the game. The third skill on this list is Charge Heavy Attack. This skill allows you to charge your heavy attack by holding RT. This means the shield bearers with tower shields can now be stunned and knocked over. It can also be used on regular enemies though, so basically now you just have the ability to knock people down. This leaves them open to an array of different attacks and is definitely very useful in one-on-one combat. If you use this skill in conjunction with parrying, it's incredibly effective and can almost one-shot most enemies. Although it's best not to use this skill all the time because it does take quite a while to charge your blades up. You might as well just be using the normal heavy attack and saving the charge heavy attack for mounted enemies and enemies with tower shields. I also noticed that this skill doesn't work on animals, so you cannot knock animals over in the game. They just completely are unaffected by it. But this skill is definitely useful for human enemies. So this next skill is from the Hunter skill tree and it's called Bow Bearer. It's very useful because it actually allows you to equip 2 bows at once. This means that you can switch between 2 bows such as the Hunter bow and the light bow, and this is very effective and convenient when in combat. So if you want to start out a combat encounter with the Hunter bow by using it from a medium distance, then you can close in with the light bow and finally finish the remaining enemies off with your melee combat. I personally don't like the Predator bow that much. I favor the light bow and the Hunter bow, although obviously you can use whatever combination of 2 bows you want. I just think this is the most effective combo. I'm sure warrior bows are very powerful though because they are technically shotguns, which means they probably pack quite a punch and can take enemies out very quickly. Anyway, Bow Bearer is a must-have skill in the game because it allows you to equip 2 bows, which means you can be double as deadly when using bows. It's also very early in the Hunter skill tree, so it only costs 1 skill point to buy. Similarly, the next skill is in the Warrior skill tree and it's called Weapon Bearer, which allows you to equip 2 melee weapons. This is also an essential perk to have because in combat situations, if you suddenly get overrun by enemies, then you're able to switch to another weapon that can deal with it more effectively. This skill is especially useful when you are fighting large groups of enemies. I've noticed that swords or sickle swords don't have very large areas of damage, so when you do slash with them, they don't affect very many enemies, whereas the daggers have lots of spinning animations, so when you do hit, a lot of enemies get caught in that attack. The same goes for heavy blunt weapons and heavy bladed weapons. They have very large areas of damage, and when you attack with them, they do lots of damage to large groups of enemies. So this skill is definitely very situational, and it all depends on the weapons you put on your class, because if you just have 2 of the same weapons, then obviously you can do that if you want. You can have 2 sickle swords, or you can have 2 normal swords, but it's best to have different archetypes of weapons. This way you can utilize these different weapons in certain situations in combat, and it'll be a whole lot more useful than just having 2 of the same thing. This next skill is passive, and it's called Arrow Retriever. Basically, if you have your shield raised against archers and their arrow happens to stick in your shield, then Bayek will take the arrow out of the shield and put it in his own inventory. This is just a nice ability to have, especially if you're running low on arrows and you're in the middle of a combat situation and you need to just get some arrows. Especially if there's lots of archers in the area, you just hold up your shield, walk around for a bit, and their arrows will stick into your shield, Bayek will pull them out, and then you'll have a bunch of ammo to fire back out with. I've got to say, if there is a lot of archers in the area, it is very effective. I was doing this earlier, just holding my shield up, simply walking around and dodging enemies that were trying to attack me, and I was able to get basically all of my ammo back from my bows. So this is a very useful skill. Even if you don't use bows an awful lot, it's basically an added bonus for simply holding up your shield, so you might as well get the ability because it's passive and you don't have to do anything. I personally think this is one of the most useful skills in the game, and you should get it as soon as possible. This next skill is less of a useful skill in terms of combat or stealth or gameplay. However, it's something that's just nice to have, and it's especially useful if you're recording gameplay in Assassin's Creed Origins or if you want to take a screenshot. Basically, if you hold down the back button on Xbox One, then it allows you to change the time from daytime to nighttime. Dawn and Dusk is just a generally nice skill to have. I recommend getting it because you can change the time at any point you want, as long as you're not climbing or in combat or anything like that. You can just watch a nice time lapse of Egypt and then change the time from daytime to nighttime and vice versa. And it also does have some uses, because at nighttime it's easier to infiltrate camps because the enemies will be either sleeping or doing other things that people would do at nighttime. So you have some patrolling, but most of the guards will be sleeping in the various different forts. So if you're going to take in a camp, I'd recommend using this skill to go to nighttime so the visibility is low and so the enemies are mostly sleeping. Apart from that though, there's not awfully many gameplay features for this. It doesn't really have many benefits. It's just a nice skill to have, and I recommend getting it. It only costs 1 skill point, and it's one of the very first skills you can get in the CS skill tree. It's just fun. It's just a bit of fun. That's what this skill is. You get to change the time of day whenever you want in the game, and it's pretty cool, especially if you want to take them nice screenshots and you think a screenshot would look better at nighttime or daytime. You can then change it to whatever you want. Last but not least, the last skill on this list is the sleep darts. Now this is more for people that like to use stealth in Assassin's Creed Origins. You hold left on the D-pad, then it will select the sleep darts, and it basically just works like bow and arrows do. You aim with LT, shoot with RT, you can throw sleep darts at enemies, which will make them fall asleep for a certain amount of time. It's a very short amount of time in comparison to other Assassin's Creed games, whereas in something like AC4, you'd be able to have them go sleep for ages. In this, it's very quickly that they wake up, so you need to go in there and get the kill or get to a safe place before they wake up again, then sound the alarm. Personally, I like using combat and weapons and having heavy weapons and stuff like that. If you like the stealth in Assassin's Creed Origins, or if you're a stealth guy, then sleep darts are very, very useful for incapacitating enemies that are patrolling around a fort. Sleep darts are also essential for taming animals in the game. Before you tame an animal, you have to put it to sleep, so you basically need sleep darts to be able to tame animals in the game. So if you want to have a little crocodile fight for you got to put him to sleep first, and then he'll be your friend afterwards when he wakes up, and he'll kill a load of people for you. But you do need sleep darts. They're very useful. Anyway, that is the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead and like and subscribe for more gaming news, content, and reviews in the future. And also remember to comment down in the comment section below telling me what you think of these skills in this video. I hope you found this video informative and that you're understanding the skill tree a lot more now, because I know a lot of people have been kind of struggling with it. It's been a bit confusing for them, so hopefully this video helps you out a little bit. Be sure to go and check out episode 3 of the Let's Play. It's up now, and obviously I'll be uploading more episodes of it as well. Be doing more streams, more tips and tricks guides for you guys, and I'm going to be getting on the Origins grind. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.